Hey there everyone, Coach Alexa here. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about strength training today and give you a bit of a kind of evidence base for why strength training is helpful for runners. There was what's called a systematic review done a couple of years ago now, where they looked at lots of different research papers that have been done on lots of different sorts of runners investigating different aspects of strength training, and what the systematic review does is kind of correlates all of that information and tries to draw some bigger conclusions from it. So a few of the conclusions that they came up with, the first one was answering the question kind of what is strength training useful for runners. Many people are doing it for the injury proofing benefit, and it didn't actually show that strong a correlation between strength training and injury proofing. That said, there are other studies that have come from different sports, for example in football, showing that you can have actually quite a lot of ligament and cartilage damage in your knee, but with real top-end strength training you can get the muscles around the knee joint to support that knee and keep it performing really well. So there's maybe a little bit of swings and roundabouts on that one. What strength training is definitely good for in runners is improving what's called running economy. So that's how efficiently your body is able to run. So efficiency really is, the amount of running speed and duration you get for the smallest amount of effort, which sounds brilliant. A couple of different sort of things to think about with running economy, one of which is it's about sort of neuromuscular patterning. So it's about how the brain and the nerves talk to the muscles in a really kind of clear way, telling the muscles quite clearly what they need to do and exactly when, so we're really kind of nicely coordinated at quite a sort of small muscular area level. But also the fact that we'll be recruiting more of our muscle fibres. So the more we practice strength training, the more of our muscle fibres will then get involved when we're running. So we get a little bit more bang for our buck. It also means that if key muscles that should be doing lots and providing them with more power when we run are stronger, they'll be able to keep us going for longer and keep us running with good form for longer. The other key thing that they found, and this is a little bit more related to top-end speed, is that things like tendon stiffness come into play. So strength training will help you have stiffer, kind of elastic band type tendons. So instead of those tendons just kind of absorbing and letting some of that energy as you land melt away, they act like really stiff elastic bands. They'll absorb that energy and then ping you forwards with a nice amount of power. So in order to help with that kind of tendon stiffness, plyometric training is what you need to do. So lots of box jumps, hops, skips, anything that's quite kind of movement and kind of hopping and jumping off your feet and your legs, explosive sort of power exercises. Word of kind of caution around those is that you do need to have really good control and movement patterns already, so they're the sorts of things you progress up to through your strength training. So get basic strength, get some balance and control, and start adding those plyometrics in gently, because if you're doing them with bad form and with poor control, they're quite a quick way to get injured. So those are a few highlights from that systematic review. It didn't give a huge amount of information about specific exercises that were amazing and others that weren't. The general consensus is that trying to come up with a pattern of exercises that move us in different key movement patterns. So bending at the hip, extending at the hip is great for runners because we're lifting our legs forward and pushing them backwards. So exercises that work those two movements. Also for the overall kind of body, push exercises where you're pushing away like a push-up, and pull exercises like a row or a deadlift. Just thinking about key movement patterns in the bodies and which exercises you're going to use to work on those different movements. I'll be posting this week as well the link to a great article that summarises a lot more about the systematic review if you're interested. Any questions, let me know.